Hi, it's Denise with My Practice Now. Welcome to our new EHR training video. All of the changes will be displayed on your third icon on your menu bar, which is this stethoscope here, which is the EHR. Let's click on that. And what you will see first is what we call the provider's dashboard. The provider's dashboard will simplify your workflow because everything you need to work for the day is right here in this page. So let's take a look at your menu bar at the top. This icon will take you back to the calendar. This is the dashboard. So if you are, for example, in the patient's dashboard, which is this green icon here, or if you're going to be changing your settings, which is this icon here, you could click on here and it will take you to the dashboard. So let's try. We're going to click on the calendar to take us back to what you're used to seeing. Let's click on the stethoscope to take us back to the new EHR. This icon is the dashboard. This icon, if I click on it, is the patient's dashboard, which this is where you're going to be able to chart, look at all the widgets that we have. I'll show you that in a few minutes. We're going to click on this settings stethoscope, which is going to take you back to where you can edit your existing templates or you can make new templates. And then here at the end is going to show your name. And then of course, if you click on log out, it will log you out. So let's talk about the provider's dashboard. The provider's dashboard has a couple of widgets available where you can actually, depending on what your practice needs are, drag the widgets to fit your needs. So it usually comes with the appointment widget, the pending items, the pending charts, the patient's arrived versus scheduled, most scheduled, top program signups, and then of course your most ICD codes that you are currently seeing. If you have other suggestions for us to include in this provider's dashboard, we always welcome suggestions. Let's start with the My Appointments widget. My Appointments widget is of course going to show you the list of your appointments for the date selected on top. You can look for future dates or past dates. It's not date range, it is just by one date alone at the moment. Remember, this is being released in different stages or in different phases. In phase one, you can only show your appointment widget by one specific date. This is going to show you the time of the appointment, the type of appointment, and your patient. You can click on this teal eye and look at any appointment information, such as notes. You can change the provider if there was a mistake. You can arrive the patient, select the appointment type if there was a mistake, etc. So you can also do that right here from this page. Click to update. If you click delete, you will delete the appointment, so careful with that. And of course, you can close this page, and of course, you can close the window to go back to your dashboard. So once you do that, you can actually show more than 10, 25, or 50 appointments. If you show all of your appointments, of course, they will display on here, and you can scroll through your widgets to see all of your appointments. Now, the great thing about this widget is that it gives you two extra options. If you need to download a list of all of the appointments for the day, before you click on download, you have to understand that if you click on download with this page only showing 5 items and not 20 or 30 which are all the patients that you have for the day, if you click on download and it shows 5, it will only show the 5 appointments showing in your widget. So if you want just to print the 5, click here. Or if you want to print all of them, just go all the way up to 50. So that way when you download, it downloads the entire list. You can also click on this icon, and what this is going to do is it's going to load all of your patient's charts in the patient's dashboard. Let me show you what I meant. I'm going to click on this and it opened all of my patient's chart notes for the day. The great thing about it is that it's not going to slow the software if you have many charts open at once. And if you are in, let's say, this patient and you're charting on the patient, but you didn't finish and you need to click on your next patient, all of the information that you have on your previous patient will be saved. So to summarize your appointment widget, it will display the appointment information. You can edit the appointment details. You can load all your patients at once with a click of a button to avoid having to go to the patient's dashboard and take the time to individually go in and search for all your patients, which we know that is time consuming. You can download a list of the patients for the day and, of course, drag the widget to wherever you need to drag. Next is our pending items widget. The pending items widget is also with one specific date, and depending on the date you selected, it will bring you all of the pending items that are still open or left for review for the patients that you have on your calendar for that day. So for example, on this date, you have this patient, which in this widget will show you all of the documents that you have not reviewed, or if there are logs, or if there are to-dos that are open. This is going to help you make sure that nothing falls through the cracks, that you do review labs or any type of documents before you see the patient in your office. And if you need to collect payment or request refills, etc., you do so because the pending items widget is going to centralize all of the needs that your patient currently has in your software when it comes to documents, to-dos, or logs. You can show, of course, display 5, 10, 25, or 50 items within the widget, which you will be able to scroll down or navigate through the pages. And of course, you can click, and if it is a document, you can click on this teal eye and it will open that document in another tab. It's not going to be a pop-up because we don't want to abstract your information that you have in your dashboard, but you can just simply click on that tab, look at that document, review it if you need to, and go back to your provider dashboard. If it is a log or a to-do, you can also click on the teal eye and you will be able to edit the information if you need to. You can change the status to closed, make comments, etc. Keep in mind that the items that will be displayed on this widget are the ones that are still left open in the patient's profile. So let me give you an example. So the reason why this to-do is showing in your pending items and this document is showing in your pending items is because it has not been reviewed yet, and this log or to-do is still showing the status as open. If I come in and I close the status, that pending item is no longer here. Why? Because I already took care of it. If you want to see all of this patient's documents so that you could review, then that's going to be on the patient's dashboard. But in this widget, you are only going to see documents that have not been reviewed yet and to-dos and logs that are still open. So for example, on Tracy and Jane, I don't have any items pending because they are not displaying on these items, which means she's good to go. All I have to do for Tracy and Jane is just see them for their discovery call and their report of findings. If I'm doing a report of findings and my document is not in the pending items, that means that I already reviewed her labs. And therefore, when I click on Jane's dashboard, I will be able to see those documents, not just in the pending items, because that was already reviewed. If you need to download a list of all of the pending items, you can click on this button and download of all of the pending items that are displaying on this screen. If you have, let's say, 50 items pending, but you selected this to show only 5 per page and you download this information, it will only download the 5 that you have here displayed. If you want to show all of them, then just go all the way to 50 and then click download so that you can have an entire list of your pending items. Let's move on to the pending charts widget. The pending charts widget is an amazing widget because if you click on this filter at the top, you can select by provider, you can select by any date with patients with no charts, with drafted charts that have not been finalized. And then in phase 2, it will allow you to send your chart note to a supervisor to sign off of. In case, let's say, for example, if you're a nurse practitioner that needs to have an MD sign off on your chart notes, you will be able to do that. Let me give you an example. I have my date today. If you see, it says no data available. This is defaulted by those that are in the calendar for this date that you started a chart note but has not been finalized. And since I have not started a chart note on any of these patients, it's telling me that there is no data. But I already arrived this patient. If I click here and I select, I want to see all of the patients that have no charts yet from this date. It is going to show those 2 people that your staff or yourself arrived these people, that they did show up to the appointment, but that there was no chart note created. This is going to help you identify who you probably have missed. You can come in and you can select from any date because this pending chart widget, it is by any date also. And you can see here, there are a couple of patients who actually showed up to the appointment who Dr. John never got to chart on. So what does this mean? That means I have to go to these patients' dashboard and start a chart note based on what they came in for. So this filter is going to show any date or a specific date. It will show you patients who arrived. Remember, this is extremely important. In order for this filter to work correctly, your patients have to be arrived in your calendar. If you were not used to that, you have to start arriving your patients because otherwise, all of this information is not going to work for your benefit. So these are the patients with no chart notes. I want to see maybe those that I did draft chart notes that I have not finalized. So from any date, those that I started but I didn't finalize, and there you go. Now I know which ones I started on, and as you can see, I can click 50, and there are many charts that Dr. Doe started on that were not finalized. And then, of course, in our second phase, you will be able, in case you are the supervisor, you will be able to select this filter and sign off on all of the charts that were assigned to you to sign off of from other providers. If you are the owner and you want to know and keep track of how your providers are doing with their chart notes, you can switch providers so that way you can know and help them and be an accountability partner for them as well. So I am very excited about this widget because I know this is definitely going to help you. Now, remember, if you want to download this data, make sure that you select depending on the data that you want to download. If you only want to download the first 5 or the first 10, 25, or 50, depending on how long your list is, then you can go ahead and select that. click download, and it will only download those that are displayed based on the showing charts that you select. And don't forget that you can drag your widget according to your needs. The next widgets are more accountability partners so that you know the areas of opportunity that you have as a provider. Example, this patient's arrived versus scheduled. Depending on the date you select, you will be able to know how many patients scheduled versus arrived. If you have more scheduled than arrived, then that's a problem because that means your patients are not showing for their appointment. What are you going to do about that? And the most scheduled is also going to help you know what you are really becoming an expert on. Maybe you have more new patient appointments than memberships or reviews, which means that they are coming for their first patient appointment, but they're really not following up after that. So that is definitely an area of opportunity where you can grow. Or you can say, well, I have more lab work than my membership appointments, which means that they do and they are interested in their health, but maybe I don't know how to close my programs correctly. So I need more work on that. You can filter by any date, which will definitely help you become more proactive in your areas of opportunity for those appointments that have actually been scheduled. The top program signups is going to be, depending on the date that you select, the type of program that was signed up this date. Or you can click on the filter and select any date. So if you select from any date, then you will be able to know which of your programs people are signing more from and the other areas of opportunity that you have to grow your other programs. And then, of course, here at the bottom, these are the top ICD codes. What condition are you treating the most? Is it diabetes? Is it thyroid? Are you doing more chronic pain, fibromyalgia, etc.? So based on the filter from any date or that specific date, you will be able to know which diagnosis code you have the most patients coming to you for. This is definitely going to help you marketing wise. It's going to help you know what areas you need to master, what seminars you need to attend, depending on the ICD codes that you are mostly treating patients on. As you can see, our provider dashboard is an amazing tool that will help you be a better provider. But if you notice, there are a lot of blank spaces that we can use from all of the suggestions that you may have. If you can think of other widgets that we can create to make your life easier, please contact your customer service representative through the bubble chat in MPN and let us know what you suggest.